Have you ever noticed how exhausting it is trying to prove yourself to people that's already decided not to see your value? Trying to prove yourself drains your peace, silence your authenticity, and disconnect you from the person God created you to be. Because the truth is, once you know who you are in God, you no longer seek validation from people. And today's message is for the person who is tired of overexplaining, overperforming, and shrinking themselves in order to feel accepted. It's time to break the habit of trying to feel like you have to prove yourself. Welcome back to Awaken Yourself. If this message found you today, I believe it's your spirit being called into freedom. Freedom from people pleasing, freedom from overperforming, and freedom from always feeling like you have to explain your worth. Some of you have spent years trying to convince people that you are enough to love, enough to be heard, enough to be respected. But God never called you into this life to constantly audition for acceptance. The people who are meant for you will not require you to abandon yourself in order to make them comfortable. And sometimes your healing starts when you stop trying to prove what God already confirmed. Many people live life in a cycle of performance, but eventually performance feels like prison. Because no matter how much you achieved, if your identity is based on people's approval, you will never feel secure. The truth is, people will misunderstand you, people will project onto you, and some people will never acknowledge your growth no matter how much you've changed. So your peace cannot depend on human recognition. Jesus himself was misunderstood. No matter how much he went out and healed, he served, he still was criticized. That means being misunderstood doesn't mean you're failing. It sometimes means that you're finally walking in your truth. Who are you living for? When your life is controlled by the opinions of others, your soul will never rest. When you seek God's approval among anyone else, something inside you changes. You stop chasing validation, you stop forcing connections, you stop trying to explain your intentions to people that is determined to misunderstand you. You begin to walk in what we call quiet confidence. Not arrogance, not pride, but just in peace. You are already loved by God. And your healing begins when you no longer feel the need to validate your existence. There is power in being misunderstood, because not everybody exerts access to your explanation. Some people are just determined to misunderstand you because it protects the version of you that they created in their mind. Let them go. Your assignment is not to convince people. Your assignment is to remain aligned with God. I want you to just take a moment and just imagine how peaceful your life would be when you stop feeling the need to explain yourself. That is freedom. Many of you are entering a season where God is teaching you to be rooted internally instead of externally. Because people's opinions are unstable. One day they praise you, the next day they criticize you. But God remains constant. So today, release the burden of proving yourself. Because the right people will recognize your heart. The right opportunities will align with your authenticity. And what God has for you will not require you to abandon yourself in order to receive it. You were not created to perform for acceptance. You were created to align with God and walk in truth. And maybe your next level begins the moment you stop trying to prove to people what God already knows about you. If this message spoke to your spirit, write in the comments, I no longer need to prove my worth. If this video encouraged you, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs freedom from people pleasing, and seeking validation. This is awaken yourself. And remember, your peace grows when your identity is rooted in God and not people's opinion. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.